So as I read and interpret this story of this man, young Joseph, who was forced into slavery in the house of Potiphar, this young man who rose to great power there in the household, showed great potential. Potiphar came to the place where he just entrusted everything to this young man, gave him access to all of his finances, literally to run the business. Because as the scripture says, there was the household and then there was the field. And I believe that the field was a place who provided not only resources to feed the household, but also to make money. And a lot of money exchanged hands. Joseph was responsible for all of it. And he didn't fall to the temptation to just skim a little off the top, but he was able to account for every piece of money that went through. And so the temptation to fall to this sin that John has described to us in the Epistle of John, the lust of the eye and the pride of life, because he didn't find himself to be a man who was abusive to those who were under him, but instead he had a servant's heart toward them, and he served them well, even though he had all of this authority. So he has succeeded in the lust of the eye, the pride of life, but now there's one more, and we know that here he is, being a servant to Potiphar. But Potiphar's wife was there in the household. And I can only speculate to the reality that Potiphar was a busy man. He spent a lot of time in the palace of Pharaoh as captain of the guard. I don't believe he was giving his wife a whole lot of attention. And we know how these things can unfold. And now she's in the house with this young Israelite who the scripture says is well favored. He's handsome. And she begins to make overtures toward him. And you can only imagine things that may have taken place. You can kind of fill in the blanks. I don't think this just happened just one day. I think it happened over a process of time. And now the tempter has come to young Joseph, the lust of the flesh. And she is beginning to be more and more persuasive. But yet, he says to her, he said, look, your husband has given me great responsibilities. There is nothing that he has withheld from me except you. And I just see all of this, and I see in my mind all of the drama that's taking place here. And the tempter is pressing. And the tempter is doing what he does, because Joseph was a man, and he was a man who had passions like anybody else, but he had decisions to make. It brings me to what I say so often to young people as I talk to them and teach them. I said, look, life is about choices, and you'll pay for the choices you make. Unfortunately for Joseph, or to say fortunately, he made the right choice, but it wasn't a good ending for him for the time. But yet there's more to come. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.